From the day I was born until now, I've never seen a guy with such determination. Once an orphan abandoned by his mother, he grew up enduring the fists of thugs and the beatings of his father. Yet now he's become the most notorious boss in the underworld, nicknamed the Bruce Lee of Southeast Asia. He's mastered every martial art imaginable and fears no one. Just charge in and this guy will take them down instantly. That's terrifying. Yet, a gang dared to brazenly murder his family members. So who is this guy? What was his arduous journey of revenge like? Or how terrifying is this killer? Join us to watch this Malaysian martial arts action that will a masterpiece worth selling a kidney for Brothers vs. Brothers 2025. In the Malaysian underworld, there's an extremely notorious mafia gang called the Seven Dragons. This organization is led by a so-called grandpa, a former top-performing Special Forces soldier from the Southeast Asian Peacekeeping Force who has since returned to his hometown to traffic drugs and cultivate marijuana. Under Grandpa's leadership, no force dares to confront the Seven Dragons. Because he had 5 extremely famous assassins under his command, the most skilled martial artist and also the leader of these 5 brothers was Gaz. Once an orphan abandoned by his mother, he was fortunate enough to be taken in and raised by his grandfather, who loved him like family. Moreover, he and Diana, his grandfather's daughter, had fallen in love without even realizing it. So, they were just waiting for an auspicious day to hold a lavish wedding. The second assassin to mention is Lion, our main character. The youngest in the gang, he's just as skilled as his older brother, mastering everything from Indonesian pencak silat to karate and Muay Thai. The oldest of the 5 assassins was Sam, a superb marksman nicknamed the Destroyer. With a gun in his hand, this time next year his enemies would be pushing up daisies. The other 2 equally skilled brothers were Malik and his younger brother Pablo. While Pablo was a man of few words, Malik was a more outgoing extrovert. Whenever he sees a girl, his eyes pop out of his head. Yet, he often gets beaten up by those Western backpackers. One day, the 5 assassins were given a mission by their master to escort the gang's deputy to a drug deal involving crystal meth with a notorious gang leader. Unfortunately, they ran into an accident and got stuck in traffic. Lion and his boss Gaz, in the car in front, had to directly drive the old man. Suddenly, Lion noticed some very suspicious-looking men. He told his older brother to be on the safe side. Then, a man wearing a helmet appeared carrying a bucket of crap. He even kicked something, making both of them break out in a cold sweat, thinking that some unscrupulous person was planning to rob them. He seemed suspicious. However, thankfully it was just a cheap Chinese iPhone. The 5 top assassins were now afraid of a bunch of young hooligans. Just as the gang leader was making a sarcastic remark, a street vendor selling tofu pudding appeared. "Buy 2 cups from me right away, sir. It'd be a shame not to eat," Lion said. No sooner had Lion finished speaking than the vendor punched through the glass, attempting to attack but failing. Lion quickly pulled the gang leader outside to hide. One guy lunged at him, but instead stabbed his younger brother Pablo in the shoulder. "Damn you!" Other thugs joined the attack, but they were no match for Gaz. The whole team worked together seamlessly, sending the thugs to their deaths. One guy tried to devour Gaz alive, but he didn't realize who he was messing with. With just a few basic moves, Gaz beat him to a pulp. Then Gaz pulled out his gun and shot him. Malik and Uncle Sam easily eliminated the 2 men. Gaz, having his gun knocked away, immediately used his baton. He single-handedly shattered their bones into 100 pieces. However, he narrowly avoided being ambushed from behind. It turned out that Lion had come to his boss's rescue. Like a whirlwind, the 5 assassins had all fallen to the ground. After this incident, all 5 brothers had to go to the police station for questioning. However, their grandfather had extensive connections with many government officials, so the police chief didn't dare make things difficult for them. Soon after, they were released to see how long they could continue their rampage. Back at headquarters, Fadlan, the son of the old master, joked that he heard his younger brother Lion had just saved his older brother's life. Lion looked at Gaz with affectionate eyes and replied, "Even if it means sacrificing myself, I will always protect my brother." It turned out that Lion and Gaz had known each other since childhood. 25 years ago, Lion accidentally witnessed Gaz being abused by gangsters. "Your mom bailed, so you're footing the bill," said Gaz, a child who had also been abandoned by his mother. Sympathizing with his older brother's plight, Lion offered help, but Gaz became angry, believing that kindness shouldn't exist in this slum. The next day, Lion's older brother, Malik, stole money from their father to go on a debauched spree. "If you confess, you'll get punched." As the foolish brother left, a phone was dropped. It turned out Gaz wanted Lion to hold onto the phone because he had just gotten it from some thugs. The father, sobered up from his drunken stupor, found the money in his wallet gone. Seeing Lion holding the phone, he assumed his foolish son had stolen the money to buy an iPhone. "What a scoundrel. Give me that phone back," he thought. But Lion still kept it to return to Gaz. "I know you need to sell it to pay off mom's debts. I wish we had a perfect family." After hearing this, Gaz realized that Lion was a very sentimental person who always thought of his family. Yet, Lion's older brother, Malik, was constantly gambling with the bookmakers, losing money, or getting into trouble with thugs. 10 years after their father's death, Malik was still gambling, causing gangsters to come to their house every day to vandalize and demand money. Lion's life was never peaceful, But then Gaz suddenly appeared. Bury this troublemaker alive. Gaz immediately taught the neighborhood thugs a lesson. Lion was fed up with living with his destructive older brother. So Lion followed Gaz to find a new life. In the days that followed, Lion was trained to become an assassin. Uncle Sam treated Lion like family and passed on all his martial arts skills to him. Seeing that Lion had become capable enough, his grandfather accepted him into the gang. For many years, Lion and Gaz were an inseparable pair. They worked together seamlessly and helped their grandfather handle thousands of missions. One evening, while the gang was playing billiards at a bar, they suddenly discovered that the guy named Cut Moy, who had previously arranged a drug deal with the gang's deputy, was the mastermind Behi. Without a word, Gaz captured him and took him in for questioning. After the investigation, he confessed everything. Mercy is for the weak. Gaz immediately took action, then put the man in a barrel and filled it with concrete without digging a grave. Witnessing this, Lion couldn't help but say, "We will never have a normal life. If you want to go back to the slums to be tormented by the local gangsters, I won't stop you. Everything has its price. The 7 dragons gave you status, so you have to work hard." At the same time, on the other side, Diana, the daughter of the crime boss, was being pestered by her ex-boyfriend Jack, begging her to come back. Does he really think he can just crawl back? What does that gorilla have that I don't? His brother more than a handspan tall. You're not even as big as a chili pepper. How could you understand? Immediately afterwards, Gaz grabbed the guy and dragged him into the car. "Who are you calling a gorilla, you bastard? Stay away from her. Understand?" Jack, having been thoroughly humiliated, became as obedient as a puppy and profusely apologized. "Oh, boss, please spare my life." Gaz let go, and Jack fell, breaking a few front teeth. The next morning, while the perfect couple were discussing their wedding, Diana's younger brother, Fadlan, said, "Father wants to speak with you and me privately. It turns out our grandfather has terminal cancer and could pass away at any moment. So he wants to hand over all the family business to his son and son-in-law. Fadlan will manage all the family's legal affairs, especially political relations with high-ranking officials. And Gaz will be the leader of the 7 Dragons gang, the one who decides everything in the organization's underworld." Although both were devastated by the shocking news, they couldn't refuse the responsibility their grandfather had entrusted to them. Diana didn't want her father and her lover to continue their bloodshed, so she tried to persuade Gaz to give up everything and go to a peaceful place. However, Gaz only replied that he loved her but couldn't let her father down. This left her constantly anxious, and she had to use tranquilizers daily to calm herself. To obtain a large quantity of sleeping pills without a doctor's prescription, Diana asked Lion for help, knowing that his girlfriend, Mira, was a nurse at the hospital. They were planning a date when Lion unexpectedly received a call from the gang leader, Uncle Sam, who had caused a major incident. Immediately, an unusual meeting of the 7 Dragons gang took place. The deputy leader said that Sam had committed a grave offense against the gang. Blood must be repaid with blood. The leader should act quickly. It turned out that after discovering one of the deputy leader's henchmen about to brutally assault a prostitute, Sam's uncle intervened and accidentally punched a man to death. Lion, seeing this, said that the henchman who attacked a pregnant woman deserved punishment. "That bitch stole my stash. If she wants to touch Sam, she'll have to step over my dead body." Hearing these words, the deputy leader was furious. He asked, "Grandpa, who does this brat think he is to speak up here? He will replace me as the leader of the 7 Dragons. You will decide everything from now on." Upon hearing this news, the deputy gang leader was extremely surprised and resentful. His grandfather didn't want Gaz to have internal strife shortly after taking office. So he told his son-in-law that they must abide by the rules. This meant Uncle Sam had to pay the blood debt. Immediately afterward, according to gang regulations, Gaz had to personally eliminate anyone who dared break the rules and betray the organization in front of all members. Although this was something no one wanted, Gaz had no choice. After each gunshot, Gaz lit a fuse, causing the car to explode, sending his brother to his final resting place. The most heartbroken was probably Lion. From the very beginning of his time in the gang, Uncle Sam had always been there to support him through his training. On the other side, Diana's ex-boyfriend, Jack, was furious after being humiliated by Gaz. He sought revenge by hiring a private investigator. To get revenge, he proposed secretly filming Gaz and Diana's intimate moments and posting the video online to humiliate them both. After consulting with his son, the investigator quoted a price of $3,000. Furthermore, he showed Jack a high-definition, hidden camera. It sounded professional, so Jack immediately agreed. Looking at the wedding invitation on the table, the detective discovered it was a 7 Dragons Society wedding. Upon closer inspection, he confirmed it was the same gang his younger brother Lion was a member of. It turned out to be Malak, Lion's older brother. Hearing this, Malak told his son, "I should drop this deal. The bank is pressuring me. And because we're poor, your mother left home." This made Malak extremely conflicted, as they hadn't seen each other for 10 years since Lion left with Gaz. Malak didn't want to cause any awkwardness when they met. The next day, Gaz and Diana's wedding took place in the church, witnessed by everyone. A handsome man and a beautiful woman. They were considered a perfect match. That evening, the couple's wedding celebration took place. Lion's older brother, Malak, disguised himself as a waiter and was present. Diana, noticing her illness had relapsed, texted Lion for tranquilizers. Taking advantage of her sister-in-law being alone, Lion unexpectedly gave them to her. However, Diana asked her brother to put them in her room. Just as she was about to go inside, she encountered Malak coming out. Immediately, she questioned him about what he was doing there, to which Malak replied, "I'm working the tables, okay?" Suspecting her brother was up to his old tricks again, Lion searched him but only found a detective postcard. Not wanting to make a big fuss, Lion let her brother leave. "Why do you care about me? You're so clever. Just leave me alone." Malak then went into Diana's room to set up a hidden camera to record videos to sell to Jack. After a few drinks, the guests left. To complete the wedding ceremony, Gaz proceeded to the bridal chamber. Filled with anticipation, he was suddenly confronted with the discovery that Diana had been drugged and had passed away. His heart ached, tears streaming down his face. What greater pain could there be than the murder of the woman he loved most on his wedding night? Holding the bottle of tranquilizers in his hand, Gaz immediately thought of Lion. He had witnessed Lion giving Diana the pills. Checking the security camera footage, Gaz discovered Lion had broken into Diana's room. This further confirmed Lion's suspicion that he was the one who poisoned his wife. Meanwhile, Lion returned home, unaware of the impending tragedy. Just then, Lion received a text message from an unknown number offering to collect money after killing Diana. This left him bewildered, not understanding what was happening, when there was a knock on the door. Gaz took his younger brother to a junkyard and interrogated him. "Why did you do that to Diana? What did she do to deserve this? I don't understand." Gaz discovered a text message on Lion's phone promising money after killing Diana, further confirming that Lion had killed his wife. But why did he do that? Lion had always been by his side, ready to sacrifice his life for him. So how could he do such a thing? Gaz couldn't control himself and held a knife to Lion's neck. "If you want to kill me like you killed Uncle Sam, go ahead. You murdered Diana to get revenge for me killing Uncle Sam, didn't you? I don't understand you at all." In Diana's bedroom, the police were already there and beginning to search the crime scene. Gaz couldn't yet confirm Lion as the culprit, so he returned to cooperate with the investigation. Suddenly, the department head came out and made an announcement. "We discovered a camera hidden inside the mirror on the dressing table. Its data would shed light on everything. However, this was an online camera with no internal memory. It turned out the video had been streamed directly to Malak's office computer. When he and his friend opened it, they thought it was a sex tape, but it turned out to be a horrifying truth. The mastermind behind Diana's murder was Fadlan, the son of his grandfather's teacher and also Diana's younger brother. His accomplice was Pablo, one of the 5 assassins. Having obtained this video, they called Jack over and told him it wasn't just a sex video anymore, but a scene of the 2 men murdering his ex-girlfriend. Therefore, it was worth $10,000. Jack feigned sympathy but couldn't pass up the opportunity to make money. He wanted to get something for nothing, so he sprayed pepper spray in Malak's eyes, snatched a USB drive, and ran away. Jumping onto his speeding motorcycle, he revved the engine, leaving the fake detective crying as he chased after him. The scoundrel Fadlan, terrified by the video evidence, immediately sent assassins to investigate. Thinking Lion had the video, he dispatched a group of thugs. Suddenly, the sound of a large motorcycle echoed from the junkyard. 2 bodyguards went to investigate, only to be subdued by an assassin from behind. The assassin then approached Lion, demanding the video, leaving him stunned once again. Lion immediately fought back. Despite being tied up, he was incredibly quick, dodging blows, somersaulting, smashing a chair, and kicking the assailant in the chest. The 2 then engaged in close quarters combat. The assassin used sharp weapons, but he didn't know how incredibly skilled Lion was. His knife was useless. Lion used a rope to restrain the men's hands, then continuously fended off his attacks, even strangling him to gain the upper hand. When the men cut the rope, Lion threw punches and slammed him into a car. Taking advantage of this opportunity, he jumped onto the masked man's motorcycle, accelerated, and sped away. At the hospital, he met his girlfriend Mira. Lion recounted everything and blurted out if there was anything wrong with the tranquilizers she gave him. Mira took them as usual, threatening to kill him if he lied. Suddenly, Lion remembered he had met his older brother Malak and still had the postcard. So, following the address, he arrived at the detective agency and questioned him about what he had been doing in Diana's room. "I was just a waiter." Knowing his brother wouldn't talk until he felt some real pain, Lion began smashing the antiques that Malak had collected. Only then did his brother confess. Diana's ex-boyfriend hired him to film a sex scene for blackmail. However, it turned out to be a murder video. That kid stole it and ran away. This infuriated Lion because it was the only thing that could clear his name. On the other side, the gang leader Gaz, seeing his 2 subordinates murdered, thought Lion was responsible and fled. While searching Lion's house, his grandfather sent a video recording of Lion and Malak talking in front of Diana's room. Then he called to report that he had found the guy's address. At the detective agency, Malak and Lion discovered that members of the 7 Dragons were present, so they immediately fled to the rooftop of the adjacent building. Trying to get back down, Malak couldn't remember the damn key to unlock the door. Malak and his 2 henchmen caught up. Lion said, "I'll gather the evidence first and then come back to clarify everything. I didn't kill Diana." However, Malak couldn't decide. and the two sides immediately engaged in a fight. It seemed like 3 against 1, and Lion was surprisingly skilled. He snatched a baton and struck his opponent, breaking a rib. Malik kicked away his weapon, and the two exchanged hand-to-hand combat. Clearly, Lion had the upper hand. Just as he had taken down the long-haired guy, the other one attacked. Lion thought she was going to get beaten up, but she grabbed the fat guy's arm and kicked him to the ground, while Malik was kicked in the stomach, puncturing his appendix. Seeing that her brother still couldn't open the door, Lion continued to beat up the two thugs. Luckily, Malik reported that the mission was complete, and the two immediately went downstairs and locked the door. At this point, Gaz arrived but was a step too late, only able to watch Lion escape. Immediately afterward, they went to Jack's house to retrieve the video. Only the father was home, but they managed to get the address where he was hiding. On the other side, Jack called Gaz, demanding $500,000. "You'll find out who murdered Diana. Once I get the money, I'll show up." Upon hearing this, Fadlan immediately sent masked assassins to steal the evidence. Just then, Lion and Malik arrived. However, before they could even open the door, they saw that the 5 men were in need of help. Running inside, they found the assassin was out for blood, then stuffed a USB drive into his breast pocket and was about to escape. Luckily, Lion managed to snatch the bag, forcing the assassin to turn back and engage in a little fist diplomacy. He drew his knife and tried to kill Lion, but it wasn't that easy. He knocked him down onto a table and attacked him repeatedly, but failed. He didn't give up and tried again. Fortunately, Malik managed to get the bag containing the USB drive, forcing the assassin to change targets. To give his brother a chance to escape, Lion attacked, but the assassin quickly grabbed more weapons, 2 knives in each hand. The assassin aimed for a fatal blow, but Lion dodged with lightning speed. Afterward, he subdued the assassin and rearranged his dental work. Finally, he smashed a chair down on the spot. "Who's your daddy now?" Lion took off his mask and was shocked to see it was his friend Pablo on the other side. Malik, relying on the call, had already located Gaz's whereabouts and decided to handle this himself. At the same time, taking advantage of Lion's momentary distraction, Pablo kicked him in the leg and ran outside. Gaz immediately chased after Pablo, but he quickly escaped into the elevator. Luckily, Malik had obtained the video, but just as he was about to leave, he encountered Gaz. Before he could explain anything, Gaz punched him, leaving him speechless. Then came a skull-crushing brawl. Believing Malik and Lion had killed his wife, Gaz attacked without giving them a chance to explain. He grabbed Malik's neck, intending to finish him off, when suddenly a gunshot rang out. Lion pointed a gun at Gaz and demanded he be released. "Let me explain. It was a case of biting the hand that feeds you." Gaz, overwhelmed by emotion, lost control and acted impulsively. With no other choice, Lion rushed in to protect his brother. At this point, Gaz's anger shifted to Lion. Facing his brother's relentless assault, Lion seemed helpless. The two had once been brothers, sharing life and death together. However, Gaz, blinded by evil, now viewed Lion as an enemy. Seeing this, Malik didn't intervene to save Lion but immediately fled. After Lion was knocked staggering, Gaz slammed him against a glass panel, causing him excruciating pain. Yet, Lion still tried to get up and prove his innocence, but he could only serve as a punching bag. Gaz threw his younger brother to the floor, then painfully said, "I treated you like a brother. Today, you two must die." Lion, overwhelmed with anger, called Gaz a fool and lunged at him. Gaz unleashed a barrage of deadly blows, finally delivering a fatal blow to the face, leaving Lion powerless to resist. Gaz drew his knife to avenge his wife. Lion, speechless, told Gaz to go ahead if he felt satisfied. Suddenly, a flashback of Diana's wedding night appeared, and Malik entered the equipment room to open the USB drive. It was then that Gaz learned the truth. The one who attacked his wife wasn't Emin, but Fadlan and Pablo. It wasn't the tranquilizers that were the problem. They had injected poison into Diana's toenails. On the 7 Dragons gang's side, the chief told his grandfather that someone had betrayed him. That night, the assassin sneaked into Diana's room to kill her, but he erased the evidence from the cameras. This is the video we extracted from the moment Diana was murdered, but it has been edited by someone. Clearly, there were strings of flowers attached to the balcony railing, but they are not in this video. Someone must have tampered with the video in the surveillance camera's memory. At this point, Grandpa knew who had killed Diana. It was Fadlan, because only he knew the password to the building's security system. Surprisingly, Grandpa, Fadlan revealed his true colors. It turned out Fadlan was only Grandpa's adopted son. Years ago, his father was also a leader of the 7 Dragons, but he betrayed the gang and was punished by Grandpa. Out of pity, Grandpa took him in and raised him as his own son. But he didn't expect Fadlan to have witnessed his father's death firsthand. I tried to forget everything and never mentioned it. He considered him his father, but he handed over the 7 Dragons to that gorilla Gaz. What am I lacking compared to him? I strive to become a champion boxer and graduated from university. Yet you only see me as a bastard child you kept to pay for your sins. Your father was a traitor, and now you are too. So go follow your father. With that, Malik pointed a gun at Fadlan's head. The old man ordered all the gang members to be summoned to bring this bastard to trial. However, only Pablo was present. Upon inquiry, he said all his brothers were with Gaz, revealing that Fadlan had outsmarted the old man and had arrested all of his close associates. At that moment, Gaz, Lion, and Malik returned. Seeing that everything had been exposed, Gaz went down with his gun to deal with Fadlan. However, he flashed a wicked smile. Suddenly, a group of mercenaries stormed out of the house, subdued Malik, and then opened fire, causing the car belonging to the old man to explode. Gaz witnessed this but could do nothing. Overwhelmed with grief, he tried to retaliate with his gun but was shot at mercilessly. Luckily, Malik managed to get in his car in time to shield him from the bullets, then helped him into the car before they all fled. Fadlan was furious but could only watch helplessly. Overwhelmed with grief, he grabbed his gun intending to attack, but they shot him repeatedly like a beehive. Luckily, Malik managed to drive his car in time to shield him from the bullets, then helped him into the car before they all fled. In the car, Lion discovered that her brother was wearing a bulletproof vest and fortunately only had a minor injury to his arm. However, taking him to the hospital would mean being hunted down. So, the two of them took Gaz to their friend's house, where they asked Mira, Lion's girlfriend and a nurse, to treat his wound. Just then, Binz appeared, and Lion was shocked to learn that Malik was married. "Where's my sister-in-law?" he exclaimed. "My mother is deeply in debt and has left home. But it would be wonderful if you were here to live with us." While everyone was eating, Gaz suddenly woke up. At this moment, he could only apologize for suspecting the two brothers. "My family thinks we should stop and report it to the police." "But what about your family? He murdered Diana and even our grandfather. Moreover, you're the protector of this family." "I'm sorry, Gaz. I don't want Mira and my nephew Binz to be in danger." After saying that, Lion left, leaving Gaz in a very awkward position. At the construction site, Fadlan had Pablo torture Malik and force him to reveal Gaz's whereabouts, persuading him that if he sided with Fadlan, they would be together again like before. "I'd rather die than follow that guy." After saying that, Malik spat, making Pablo extremely angry. Immediately afterward, Pablo asked who would live if they followed Fadlan. However, no one dared to speak up. This left Fadlan extremely disappointed because none of them respected him. He was furious. Fadlan took off his shirt and brutally attacked Malik with a knife. Everyone was terrified by what they saw. However, they all remained loyal and silent. Taking out his AK-47, Fadlan went on a rampage, unleashing a bloody attack, sending all of Gaz's closest associates to their deaths. After finishing them off, he arrogantly announced that he was the new leader of the Seven Dragons. He hoped they would find the person who murdered his entire family. Since no one knew Fadlan's true face, his immediate priority was to kill Gaz and Lion to cover his tracks and destroy the USB drive containing the video evidence of his murder of Diana. Meanwhile, Lion reported the incident, and the police arrived. However, Gaz didn't answer the door. Breaking down the door, they found the house empty. Gaz had jumped out the window and escaped. Thinking they'd been tricked, the chief ordered everyone arrested and taken to the station, but Lion produced the USB drive, claiming the evidence was there. Outside, Gaz drove into the forest and stopped. After driving straight down, he arrived at a riverside house to meet someone none other than Uncle Sam. It turned out that Sam was still alive because Gaz had spared his life earlier and tricked everyone by setting everything on fire. After telling the whole story, Gaz asked Uncle Sam to return to the Underworld to help him take revenge. On the other side, after Lion handed over the evidence, the chief agreed to take everyone to safety. However, just as they got into the car and were about to leave, they were suddenly attacked. It turned out to be Fadlan's men. He wanted to steal the USB drive and had hired snipers to hunt Lion down. They drove out of the alley to escape the snipers, and everyone hid behind the car. One of the snipers rushed forward but was instantly killed by the chief. Knowing that he was seriously wounded and unlikely to survive, he gave the USB drive to Lion and distracted the enemies so that everyone could escape. Taking advantage of the situation, Lion led everyone into a building. Relying on his large gun, the masked man blew up the car, making it difficult for even the police chief, protected by his invincible armor, to survive the ordeal. Inside the house, Lion was distracted by the chief's sacrifice when Pablo suddenly attacked. Lion ran out, but Pablo had already kidnapped his older brother Malik and escaped in a car, leaving him helpless. To ensure their safety, Lion took Mira and Binz to a secret room, instructing them to stay there until the police arrived. Suddenly, he received a text message from Fadlan telling him to bring the USB drive to the construction site for a prisoner exchange. Immediately, Lion returned home, showered, and donned his Seven Dragons suit. The bespectacled man led him to a basement containing a weapons cache he had amassed since childhood. From grenades to rocket launchers, Lion had plenty to choose from. Once ready, Lion drove to the meeting place. Fadlan had surrounded the area. Knowing that he was a ruthless man who would abandon the two brothers once he got his hands on the goods, Lion demanded his brother's release first. Fadlan was planning a robbery, but my brother was prepared. "Come any closer, or I'll send this video to the whole gang so they can see your true face. Release my brother, and then we'll talk." However, Fadlan wasn't someone to be trifled with. He pulled out a gun and, playing a dirty trick, shot Malik in the hand. "You think I'm joking? You son of a bitch. Hand over the USB." Knowing that messing with Fadlan would only lead to trouble, Lion reluctantly said the USB was in the car. After Fadlan's henchmen came to get the goods, he released Malik. However, before handing over the phone containing the video, Lion sent it to the members of the Seven Dragons Society. "You son of a bitch." Inside the car, the henchmen opened it and found a bomb. Lion kicked Fadlan and ducked to take cover. The bomb exploded, the shockwave knocking everyone back. Taking advantage of the situation, Lion threw a grenade, blowing them all up. They tried to run, but one of them blocked their way. Lion stood up to fight him, but 3 men behind him rushed forward with knives, in killing mode. He instantly killed each of them. He took down these guys completely, giving every attack he threw at them. Suddenly, 2 more appeared. There were so many of them that Lion couldn't fight back, so Fang slammed him face down on the ground, grabbed him by the neck, caved his face in, and then threw him away. Lion looked like he was in agony. Fadlan didn't die, so he arrived. He said that the idiot, according to Gaz, would meet a terrible end. Immediately afterwards, he pulled out his AK to finish them both off, but suddenly a car sped towards them. It was none other than Gaz who had stabbed one of them in the stomach. Stepping out of the car, he gave them a masterclass in violence, handing the grenade launcher to his younger brother Lion. Even more surprisingly, Uncle Sam was also there. At this point, Lion realized he had wrongly accused his older brother. Fadlan ordered his henchmen and Pablo to attack. However, they didn't know who they were messing with. Uncle Sam fired his gun, while Gaz detonated a grenade, blowing up the car. The men managed to get up, but were riddled with bullets. The last one took a grenade from Gaz that pierced his stomach. Gaz ordered Lion to get Malak out of there. He and Uncle Sam then split up to begin their operation. Fadlan, having been called useless by a gang leader, angrily dealt with the rest of the gang. Then, like a guardian angel from hell, he appeared. He attacked but failed. Gaz counterattacked, sending the big guy running away in panic. He continued the chase. Fadlan was ready to strike, but Gaz was out of ammunition and couldn't do anything. Seeing a steel plate, Gaz used it as a shield to block bullets, then rushed forward and beat Fadlan to a pulp. He dragged him up and began to fight. Fadlan proved to be no pushover. Because he was a champion boxer, Gaz wasn't going to take him easy. Grabbing a machete, he counterattacked, slashing and hacking, putting Gaz at a disadvantage. On the other side, Lion helped his brother into the car. However, their ride broke down, so the 2 brothers decided to get out and find another vehicle. Unfortunately, they ran into Pablo. He knocked Lion's gun out of his hand and then threw him to the ground. With a kick, he flipped Lion over. Lion tried to get up and fight back, but no way. Given a hammer as a bonus by his older brother, Lion swung it wildly but failed, and even lost the weapon. Pulling out a knife, Pablo charged forward, taking a dangerous path. Lion grabbed his arm, but Pablo immediately turned the knife around and stabbed him in the shoulder. Why? Welcome to the real world. Just as Pablo was about to strike, he was hit by a sharp bullet. It turned out that his older brother, Malak, had regained consciousness. On the other side, Fadlan, wielding a machete, attacked Gaz but was struck in the face by a door frame. Trying to get closer, Gaz knocked the knife away and beat him until his face was bruised. Finally, he finished him off with a powerful kick to the chest. Malak, having rescued his brother, was then grabbed by the neck and stabbed repeatedly by Pablo, making him furious. Lion rushed forward, snatched a knife, and finished him off. On the other side, Fadlan tried to play mind games, grabbing an electric baton and saying, "I wasn't the one who killed Diana. Think about it. She begged you to leave this place, yet you still clung to power and refused to go. If you weren't greedy, she wouldn't be rotting in a grave right now." He pushed Gaz to the ground. Then he yanked him until he couldn't resist anymore. Malak was also severely injured. Luckily, Uncle Sam, having dealt with the rebels, arrived just then. Knowing that he needed to quickly get Malak to the hospital, Uncle Sam started the car. Just as he was about to leave, Lion heard Gaz's screams, so he stayed to rescue his brother. Gaz, paralyzed, was being attacked by Fadlan, who pulled out a knife. Fadlan smirked and was about to strike when Lion arrived. He charged forward furiously, proving himself a champion fighter with a weapon in hand, and quickly overpowered Lion. Fortunately, Gaz regained consciousness and rescued his younger brother. Then the 2 of them joined forces to attack Fadlan. However, he seemed to be in a frenzy, attacking like a human buzzsaw, overwhelming the 2 of them. He picked up the rope wrapped around Fadlan but was stabbed in the stomach, then another in the shoulder. He tried to kill Gaz, but the rope stopped him. Lion pulled a lever, and the automatic pulley system yanked Fadlan into a fuel cabinet. The exposed electrical wires created sparks, causing an explosion that turned Fadlan into a charred mess. Finally, it was over. Let him die and follow Diana. I won't leave him behind. We are brothers. After saying this, Lion took Gaz away. Malak was also taken to the hospital in time and his life was saved. 2 months later, everyone had recovered. Lion took young Bins to say goodbye to his older brother Gaz before he went to Thailand to pursue his passion for Muay Thai and live a peaceful life. It turns out that both Lion and Gaz have left the 7 Dragons gang to live new lives. The leader of the 7 Dragons is now Uncle Sam, a man with the guts and honor to earn their trust. Lion is living a happy life with his loved ones, especially the beautiful Mira. This movie proves that blood runs thicker than water. Therefore, never turn your back on family.